most common treatment options that are available today. One is combustion, this idea that you could burn the sediment, burn the pollution off of it. This doesn't work for metals or slag, which is present in high quantities in the sediment we're talking about here. So that does not work. The second option is something called grain size separation. Well, can we harvest the clean sand out of that material and separate it from the finer and more polluted, smaller sediments? It's a good idea, but unfortunately for the material we have in the Calumet River, there's not a lot of sand, and the finer grain material, or the coarser grain material that's more sand-like, is generally slag. The third option is sort of biological treatment, this idea that bacteria could, more or less eat the pollution. While this works for organic compounds, again, it doesn't deal with metals, which are one of the major problems in Calumet sediment. So that doesn't work. Oops. I went one ahead, but as you can tell, a fourth option is sediment washing or solvent extraction. When you use some solvent, it could be water, it could be something else, to essentially wash the sediment off of the individual particles. This doesn't actually destroy pollution, but just separates it and puts them in a different form. And there's not one universal solvent that works for all the different pollutants we're talking about. And then before I move on, one more treatment option is to, it's called like solidification, when you would trap that contaminated sediment in a concrete or a brick mortar and make it inert and out of the environment. While this may seem appealing, the petroleum compounds that are on the sediment restrict the hardening process and the formation of concrete. And more importantly, those PCBs would still be present in that material, and we don't feel comfortable putting that back out in the community. So that option doesn't work for us. So how do we propose to construct one of these facilities? Most simply, in a nutshell, we would use that clean material from Calumet Harbor that I talked about has certain beneficial uses to safely confine the more contaminated material from the river. First, we put down a clay liner. Then clean harbor sediment would be used to build a series of berms in a ring. Inside of that ring, we would gradually place the more contaminated material from the river. It would build up over time, filling the facility. When the facility is full, we would cap it with more of that clean harbor material. At this point, it would be closed, and we'd be basically a grassy plateau that we would turn over to our non-federal sponsors of the city. The closed facility is then available for redevelopment. And as long as the future use doesn't compromise the cap, so all that contaminated material is still confined safely, we could put it to any number of potential uses. And so that's one of the things we'd like to hear from you about today. Ideas, creative thinking, what can we do with the site when it's over.
How deep is the cap?
Right now we're talking about a 3-foot cap. Yeah, so one of the posters addresses this question, and it's a good question. We'd be happy to talk to you more about it. Other places in the Great Lakes, these facilities have been used for recreation, open habitat, ecosystem restoration type projects, and then more industrial uses, airport expansion, parking.
How many years till you can do that?
We planned, like I said earlier, for a facility to last.
How many years till you can actually walk on that land?
This study is planning for a 20-year facility.
20.
Yep.
So in 20 years, then you can grow daisies or have an airport or whatever you want. Is that what you're saying?
That's not, sure.
In theory. In theory, because the CDF that we have currently at the mouth of the river was only scheduled for 20 years, and am I correct? And it's going on 30-something years?
Yes and no. It was scheduled for 10 years.
Okay.
And we've kept it open for 30 through responsible management of that sediment. We used to, at the time the facility was built, it was to hold a harbor and sediment material. But one of the victories of dredging is over time that harbor materials become clean enough that we no longer exploit confinement.
Now that entire thing is 20 to 22 feet high.
This facility that we're discussing tonight would be. Our current facility, which is basically full and about to close, is a different construction that was acceptable in the 80s.
Acceptable now?
It's not acceptable now.
Whoa. Not acceptable now.
Yep.
So how do we know in 20 years?
Okay, all right.
This is
Hey, folks, I'm going to stop here just for a
How large
second.
would it be in
I'm sorry, I'll be quiet.
Here's my concern. We're kind of running out of time. We're scrolling out of our time zone.
Time is not an essence to any of us.
And I understand that. I understand that truly.
Okay. Okay.
We do have a comment period, and if you want to make comments, let's use that and be as constructive as we can.
But as he's speaking, we should be able to ask a question.
I do understand that, but Alex does have